So I started to do kickboxing a year ago, exactly. And I was like, I'm gonna take over the world. This is gonna be easy, but for one specific reason, and that is I'm on self improvement. I stopped playing video games. I working on the stopping other bad habits, and you get my point. And while everybody else just doesn't care, they just come to training, or that's what I thought. They just come to training, train there, and that's it. Well, most of them do that, but not all of them, of course. But when I came in, I was happy. We did like all this running, stretching. I met the coaches, I met people there. It was nice. And it's been probably like I trained for like 3 weeks, and it was my first sparring. And I like in the meantime while I was at home, and while I wasn't training, I was watching videos about how to get good at sparring. From that guy Gabriel Larga. And as I came into sparring, like I also started. I sparred with my friend, like basically the first guy I met, um, on uh, in the club, you know, and she's like he maybe like trains like 3 weeks than me. His technique sucks. Mine was eh, like it wasn't good. Like let's say it was good for like for first 3 weeks I was training. Yeah, and then I thought, okay, I'm gonna kill this guy. Like I'm not for real. I'm not gonna like hurt him or anything, but I'm gonna be better at sparring, whatever. He then realized he both of us like struggled. Like none of us could get a punch in. Like we were both like scared and everything. I was like, I'm just gonna keep improving on it, and but always for like this whole year. I was focusing on improving my technique and on this other stuff. I was well wasn't getting much sparring in, but I wasn't really making any progress. Or I felt like that. Like whoever I asked, like I was really in a bad place. Like 3 months ago, get it, and for a while, and even though I thought like I sucked, even though I'm training every day and everything, like even though like like let's say I was improving my technique or footwork, everybody was saying I thought I wasn't improving at all, cause like at sparring I sucked. Basically, I felt like I wasn't making any progress. While everybody else was telling me, yo, you're getting actually better. My coaches and everybody, and I didn't believe them, cause like they probably. I was thinking, yeah, they just want to make me feel better or whatever. Or maybe I'm making like slow progress, and now I'm just I'm making slow progress, but it seems visible, or yeah. But then I finally like reached the point where like all of a sudden I'm starting to get good at sparring. Like of course I'm not the best in the club or anything, but I was sparring the guy who's best in the club, and I was actually holding my own pretty good. Like the guy trained 10 years, I'm training 1 year, and I wasn't feeling like he was letting me win and everything. But yeah, of course he still won, but like I actually had a chance. I actually felt like that, like I had a chance, and so um, now I'm thinking like, what was my biggest problem there? And it was probably fear. I was scared. Because I never been in a like fight, like school fight or street fight my whole life, like never. And now all of a sudden, for a year I'm just getting my ass kicked. Getting punched in the face, and it it was always pretty scary to spar. And now that I was like, when I realized that like 2 months ago that I should just improve on my like how stop fearing, and I don't know how. Like until like 2 weeks ago, um, you know, I'm gonna talk about advice. The thing I told you about my last video, which was basically the whole point. Basically, so you don't have to go back to the video. I'm just gonna explain like pretty quickly, right? So basically, um, I was healing my trauma, which basically, how do you do that? And what is trauma like exactly? Let's go over that first. The trauma is basically, the bad feelings that we didn't felt all the way, which it comes from, like, when parents beat us as a kid and they tell us, okay, if you cry more, I'm gonna hit you more and all this other stuff, blah blah blah, and which we condition ourselves. We cannot be sad, we cannot cry, we can't feel scared. We just avoid that feelings, which isn't good. Like you we should you know feel our emotions all the way through. And basically how do you do that now is all of those unprocessed emotions, how do we heal them right now, or feel them all the way. Basically what you do is just stand around with no friction, literally no phone, no little espresso coffee, just you know sit on your chair, bed, lay down in your bed and just look at the ceiling or a wall and just let your mind think. And you probably think like when you're sitting and thinking like that, the thoughts we get are random. Well, that's actually not true. Basically, we most of the time we just think about the bad things that happened to us in the past, which basically means we're thinking about trauma we got. And now, like, what do? Like, we sit there, we literally sit, lay around, and when we get that like thought that happened to us like 5 years ago or maybe 2 weeks ago, like, it can be like whenever, like, doesn't matter when it happened. You just tell yourself, okay, how you felt that. Literally, you just calm. You don't try to fight it or imagine you fight the person or you thought about or something. You just calmly lay. You literally laying you relax and you think to yourself, okay, that instance where my parents beat me, it was scary. That time that I got bit by a dog uh, or had fight with someone, that was pretty scary. That one time that I tripped in school, that was pretty embarrassing. I really felt guilty or shame, like whatever you feeling after that. Basically, some cringy feeling. And yeah, when we do that, we basically just heal our thoughts, and in the process we stop doing these bad habits because we usually distract ourselves with the bad habits, yeah. And this way we don't get in, let's say, desires with that, which was basically my main goal. But what I did, like I literally just, I think I did it that, no, you can't do that too much, like if you, but I literally just when I found out about that, I literally just laid around for 2 or 3 hours like daily, like no problem. I was just letting my thoughts go away because I really wanted to heal the trauma that I had, so in process I could stop playing video games and all this other stuff. But now, what happened? What? How did I implement that in sparring? How do I lose the fear? Because, well, what I did is basically, of course, in the process, I think this helped me the most. Which basically, while I was healing my trauma, basically I was just immediately that came into sparring, like fighting, and I felt less scared. I felt less anxious, but also like I always had like little fear. And whenever I came into sparring or sparred someone who's better than me, or I was sparring at all, basically what I did is I just told myself, okay, this is a scary situation. Yeah, I just labeled it like that, like I was healing my trauma, there, and it worked. And then, I tried. Then, like, of course, there's the thing, like, I was actually getting better at sparring because I did it more often, like, now. But that was the main thing, like how I remove my fear. And like, what's my step now? Of course, I should probably keep heal my trauma or whatever. But um but besides that, I think I should just still do this other other stuff which help me with sparring and all this training, like because kickboxing or MMA, that's like my main thing now, like basically fighting. And besides that, I should just yeah, stick to the stick those two things, just getting good at those stuff, but also like I should keep doing this all good stuff and like good habits. Like reading. I just recently got back into reading, which was like big for me. Like I used to read like 6 7 months ago. I had I had no problem reading. Like I really got into that habit, but I literally daily I read like 50 pages of a book, which was too much. If you really want to learn from a book, you shouldn't do that much. But no, like for like half a year now, I had a problem with reading because it felt too hard. But now I slowly getting back into it, which also rolls back into this, like which is healing trauma. Because like once I healed it, I have literally had no trouble doing all this good stuff. While slowly, those bad habits all they're all fading away. And also, I got back into this YouTube thing, like which w- since I started, this was pretty hard for me. You can literally look at my other videos. Like I did, I did videos like once every 2 weeks or once a month. While now I try to like my goal is to try to do them daily now. It's still hard, but now I try to do it at least every other day or daily. Like even if I miss like 2 days, I'm just I'm still it's still progressive overload. It's much better than I did before. Like now, to, where I uploaded like once every 2 weeks or a month. So and this is all this is all just me thinking about this and just share it with you guys because I'm finally happy that I made the process progress and all that. And I hope you learned something from my stories. That's kind of my main goal. I'm still learner myself. I'm still learning about this life thing, and I'm now finally once I'm making this good progress. Finally. I'm finally happy now about it. Like I was happy, let's say, because I was doing start to do the good habits, but now I finally see the progress, which basically I think the biggest thing that helped me is this healing trauma thing. But now I'm gonna end the video there. I hope you have a good day. I hope learned something from your video. If you want, you can join my community down below. It's in the comments. It's in the pinned comment. It's only like 50 euros monthly. Also have a course there. No pressure. Like once you start trusting me, you can, if you want, you can just join the course. So I'll see you there.